This video is to explain to you guys how swageless rigging fittings work. We're getting ready to completely replace all of the standing rigging on our boat. If you don't know what standing rigging is, it's the wires that are holding up the mast. And we're replacing all of ours with new stainless steel 1x19 wire. And we're going to be using, all the fittings we'll be using are called Stalok, and they're swageless. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the different types of fittings that exist and what we're using, why we're using it, and show you guys how to install a Stalok fitting on 1x19 wire. Okay, so first off, there's a couple different types of fittings for standing rigging if you're using wire. For a long time, most people just use what's called Swage fittings, which you have to take to a professional rigger who has a large machine that's very expensive that applies pressure to a metal fitting. That the wire goes into the metal fitting, and this machine rolls it and presses it down, pinching it to the wire. So that's called Swage fittings, and those have been kind of they're much cheaper than Stalok, but the thing is you have to have someone with a swaging machine actually do those for you. The type that's on our boat currently is most of it, at least everything up top, is called Nicopress, and it's almost like what you would see on like telephone poles and stuff like that. It's not the most secure means of securing your standing rigging to your mast, and I'm very happy that ours has never failed, but I'm very excited to replace it with kind of like the best that we can, which is, in my opinion, Stalok. And I'll talk a little bit about why we're using Stalok and where we're using it. So let me get right into showing you what Stalok fitting looks like. But this is a Stalok fitting. This is going to be the top terminal. And today what I'm going to be installing this to a 1x19 stainless steel cable that's going to be our new backstay. Here's the package it came in. Stalok. We are oversizing all of our rigging. So our current rigging, like the cap shrouds and the forestay and the backstay, are all 1/4-inch stainless cable, and the lowers are 3/16, I think. But I'm replacing all of the rigging with 1/4-inch, so everything will be the same size. And one thing that does is it adds strength to the lowers. It keeps the same strength that we've had on the rest of it, but a great benefit to having all of your rigging the same size is that carrying a spare bundle, you don't have to have multiple sizes. So you can just get like a spare amount of 1x19 and have it on board, and if any one of them fails, then you will have the correct size. A reason people might not want to do that is that it does add weight. Now, we don't have a racing boat, and we're setting up for like ocean sailing, so we would much rather have a little added weight on the lowers and have the added strength than concerned about small amounts of weight. One of the great benefits of using Stalok or mechanical fittings for your rigging is, one, you can do it yourself, which with rigging, if you don't educate yourself, that can turn into a dangerous situation. Like, if you plan on doing all your own rigging and you have no experience in that, really educate yourself and read every book you can. Read The Rigger's Apprentice. Really, and it's generally better to have a professional rigger do it unless you have extensive knowledge about setting up a rig on a boat, which I do, so I'm totally comfortable doing ours. But if you're doing a repair at sea, this type of fitting is going to be a lot easier to do the repair than if you have all Swage fittings on your boat and you have something break at sea, you're not gonna have a giant machine that's gonna be able to swage on new fittings for you. So even if you have Staloks on board as like a safety backup in case you have something fail, then that's like great insurance. The other amazing thing about these is they're reusable. So 10 years from now, or I can't remember what the recommended mile, like 20,000 ocean miles or something. I can't remember what they recommend, like 10 years or 20,000 ocean miles or something, before you change your standing rigging again. So 10 years from now, we will be able to use all of these fittings again and just replace the 1x19 wire, which will save you a fortune, because these are very expensive on the initial purchase. But considering that they are usable, like 1x19 wire is not that expensive when it comes down to buying it for an entire boat. If you're doing all the labor and everything, it's a huge savings in the long run of the boat. The only place I absolutely will not be using one of these fittings is at the top end of the forestay. And the reason I won't use this on our forestay is we're installing a roller furler system, and I've read a number of reports of near catastrophic failures of rigs where the Stalok fitting at the top, something went wrong. I'm not sure what went wrong, but the roller furling action slowly unscrewed this fitting. So that is no bueno. And one of the accounts that I heard about was on the Wind podcast with Andy Shell, where it happened to him personally. And he said like the forestay just went slack, and the only thing holding their mast up was the halyard and the sail itself keeping the mast up. So like they dropped all sail and everything and dealt with it. But yeah, it's like, and I'm not sure what causes that, but I'm not going to take any chances. So for our forestay, I will have that fitting swaged by a rigger, and I may have the bottom swaged as well. I'm not sure. But at least the bottom, you can keep an eye on it. So you can see if it's if it's loosening up or if it's unscrewing. It's a lot harder to keep an eye on a fitting at the top of your mast than it is one right on the deck. So other than that single location, every other place on our boat will have Stalok fittings. You can also buy these cool Stalok fittings that have this on either end. So if your shroud parts or your wire parts at some place, you can join two pieces together and replace whatever length broke until you can get into a safe harbor and replace it with all continuous cable. So let's get into the bits of this, and I'll show you what's up. So here's our 1x19 cable we'll be using. I ordered this from Defender Marine, which is where I order all of my stuff. I don't have any connection with them. I don't get any kind of special discount for talking about them in this video. It's just the cheapest and most reliable kind of marine supplier that I found, and so that's where I ordered this from. And it's 3/16 stainless, 1/4 inch, and I don't recall what it costs, but it doesn't cost much in the grand scheme of boats. So we'll put that there. And I ordered a greater length than what we need for our backstay. And how we're going to go about it is we're installing a new backstay chain plate, and so that's going to change the length anyway. So there was no way for me to really know the exact length. So I just ordered 1.5 feet greater than, and I'm going to be installing this today with you guys, and then Camille will fly me up the mast. We'll secure our mast with our a couple of halyards. We'll bring them aft so that we can disconnect the backstay without any risk of the rig coming down. I'll go up top and secure this to the masthead, and then she'll bring me down and we will then measure the exact length we need with our whole new setup and our new chain plate, and then we'll cut it and install the mate on the other end right there in place on the boat at the exact length we need it. So that's how we're going about it, because there are parameters changing. So we got our fitting here. This just unscrews. You see? This is the cone. Has a little slit in it. Hopefully you can see that. And then inside is what's called the former. So it's like a little concave kind of cap that goes into the female portion of the fixture. So those are all of our elements of the entire setup. That's all we need right there. And let's go ahead and get to installing this on this wire. First thing you do is you slide your male fitting onto the wire. And keep in mind that these Stalok fittings are made specifically for wire size. So make sure you have like all your information written down. So this is, like I said, 1/4 inch wire. So we got the 1/4 inch Stalok fitting with a 1/2 inch eye. So our pin that's going to hold it in place is 1/2 inch. So we slide this in. Stalok suggests, which in this setting it's not really necessary, but I'm going to do it just in case, just so you guys can see the proper way. Is you tape this. You just put a piece of tape down here so that your fitting can't get away from you. So you see that just stops it. That's the only reason for that piece of tape. So this 1x19 wire, it's the you're gonna unravel the outer strands from the center core, just like, I don't know, 3 inches down. It'll kind of find its way, and you can always wrap it back over. Just make sure that you're not, undoing your core. You just want this outer sort of sleeve to be unraveled. So that's what it looks like once you get that unraveled. So it's kind of almost looks like a flower. So you see how that is? So we got our core here, and that's the business we're going to work with now. Now what you do is you take your cone and you slide it in. You take your cone and you just got a hole in the middle, and you work that core into that hole. Trying to not spear myself with these other guys. It's good that it's tight, you know what I mean? Because if it was loose, then you might have the wrong size for the wire that you're dealing with. So I've got it pushed right to the end. Show you guys from the side. You see how that is? Try to turn that a little bit, and you see. So you see there's like a gap right here. That is what's going to push together when the mechanics of the whole thing work. So when we start laying this wire back over this cone, we want to take great care to not allow one of these wires to fall into that line, into that groove rather. So now all you do, we got our cone on, you start wrapping this back the way she was before you unraveled her, and it does it real easy. You get her wrapped around there. And you try to get it as even as you can without letting it fall into that groove that I was telling you about. Okay, so we got her all laid out pretty nice. You see how nice that looks? pretty uniform. Now I'm gonna go in and make sure that, see that one fell inside that groove. I don't know if you can see it, but one of the wires fell inside that groove I was talking about. So I'm gonna go ahead and just slide that out off to the side just a little bit, but you want to try to have them equally spaced all the way around and laying in their natural form. And it's very frustrating because it always wants to pop into that groove. So that's pretty good. Then what you do is you take your male thread part of the fixture and you slide it up and pinch it. And once you do that, you can make sure that everything's like happy. So we got a pinch like that. Now you want to put your former, make sure that your former, which is this little cap, is down inside, resting like the way it should be. It's not cockeyed, it's not upside down. And then what we do is we screw this on. And once it starts getting tight, go ahead and get some wrenches. I'm using 2 crescent wrenches here. You can use box wrenches that fit exactly right. And you just want to tighten that down. Until it's like well torqued, and you can feel, you know, you don't want to like damage it by like going crazy, but you want to get the ends. What's happening is that former is smashing the ends of the outer wire around the cone. Oh, okay, that's like as far as we need to go. So what it's done is it's smashed all those tips into a form. Now what we want to do is we're going to remove it and see how the form lays so that we are 100% positive that everything went correctly. And if it looks like things are wonky, then the best thing to do is take everything apart and, you know, cut the wire off, cut that part off and start again. But as long as you had everything laid out nicely, it's kind of hard to mess up. So okay, so yeah, you can see it's nice and even. Everything's happy. Yeah, happy with that. Now, used to, people suggested, and your manufacturer suggested, that at this point, after you check the shape of it, you would fill this with sealant to keep water out. What has been discovered, and now manufacturers are actually advising against that technique, is that when water does find its way into this fitting, which water will find a way, the sealant makes a oxygen-free environment. So it starves the environment of oxygen, and it allows the water to do crevice corrosion, which is like roughness on the surface, pitting, or it could even be like worm-like holes. So now they suggest you just put Loctite on the threads and re-cinch this down, and they advise against putting sealant inside. So we're gonna go with that because it makes the most sense. You know, it's like water will always find a way. And the most common place on boats that you'll see this crevice corrosion is in the chain plates. So where the chain plates are actually passing through the deck into the cabin, in that spot is starved from oxygen because there's sealant, but water finds a way in there. And that's a lot of times chain plates will fail at that point, or they'll corrode to the point of near failure. So we're going to go ahead and listen to the current ideas that are in place, and let's go ahead and put Stalok on this, and then this end of the job is complete, but I'll show you guys what the other end is going to look like as well. So we're using the blue Loctite, which is removable, but it's very strong and does its job. Doesn't allow vibration to take over and compromise this connection. I'll go ahead and put her back together, tighten her down until she's happy. Okay, that's good. Go ahead and clean off this Loctite down here. Since it ain't doing nothing anyway, it's just gonna cause a mess. And that's how Stalok fittings work. Pretty simple, do it yourself, and opens up a whole world of possibilities for you. If you're watching this channel, chances are you're on a budget, and one way you can replace all of your standing rigging without being killed in the pocketbook is you can do it like one stay at a time. Like maybe you just do like a stay or two, or you know, a couple pieces of paycheck, or even one piece of paycheck, depending on how tight your money is. We are doing our backstay first because we have, anyone who watches our channel regularly, we have these crazy old insulators where originally the backstay was set up to be, it could work as an antenna for an SSB radio. There was never an SSB radio installed when I bought the boat, but what that does, and the issue is that with the Nicopress fittings that are all kind of from the deck up, it creates a lot of points that it could fail. So I've been real spooked by that backstay for a long time. Now, backstay is under the least pressure of any of the rigging because of the angle of which it leaves the mast to the backstay chain plate. So the greater the angle leaving the mast, the less pressure and tension that's put on the rig, on that element of the rig. So that's why you'll see people running backstays, they can just loosen them, and it's just like, you know, loose, and the mast isn't falling. So if you're looking at replacing your rig and you want to make it in a way that you can replace it at a lower cost in the future while maintaining kind of the top quality, you can. I say go with Stalok. There's like I said, there's a number of different manufacturers making this style. I think Norseman was the first one to do this style, but all my research I've done, everything points to Stalok as a brand for me. So that's what we're going with all around, other than the Swage fittings for the headstay. So I hope that this video was beneficial to you. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. It helps us in the algorithm. If you like our adventure videos or how-to videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any. And if you feel like you want to contribute to the making of these videos, you can give as little as $1 a video, and on our Patreon page. So we want to thank all of our patrons. You guys are amazing in this like really difficult time. I know money's really tight, and we're barely staying afloat. So your help is greatly appreciated, and has helped us kind of move forward, pursuing our dream and our plans of world cruising. So I hope this helped you, and I hope that you use it to replace your rig, and I hope that it gives you confidence in the setup. So thanks for watching. Fair winds until next time.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like, subscribe, and leave us a comment. It helps us a lot.
Thanks again to all of our patrons. Your contributions help us get the boat ready for big things.
Until next time.